Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Our Common Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those who are watching my show for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because we are dealing with everyday issues of which we're trying to find solutions using logic. The fact of the matter is, not everyone uses logic. Henceforth, the reason why it's called uncommon sense. Right now, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope in Twitter. Okay. Good evening, Denise. Good to see you again. Yes, please, people, let's hit that like button. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for all. So therefore, whenever I post material, you'll be notified. Now, the topic for tonight's topic is going to be, have we lost the art of respectable dialogue? Now, why are we getting into this topic? Because it seems like people have a hard time respecting each other mutually when they interchange ideas with others. We have seen a lot of this. We have seen this in the YouTube community. We have seen this at work. We see this with our families and what have you. What I'm going to ask everybody that appears on the panel and get on the chat, let's not call out anybody. Let's just focus on the behavior itself, because we've been getting a lot of that lately in these YouTube streets. People being called out for all sorts of stuff. And if anybody has been following me for the last 4 months, I try to keep it positive. Okay. Now, during the upcoming weeks, I'm going to be working on improving my channel and thinking about ways to make the my content more interesting and to maintain that intelligent chatter. So there might be certain channels I may not join. It's nothing. I have nothing against any creator. It's just that I really want to devote the time and energy that I need in order to produce quality content. So I'm going to be doing some different things. In the new year, I'm going to be doing interviews. I'm going to try to bring up more experts to discuss different issues. I am not going to get into all the foolala that's been going on. It's getting old. It's getting tired. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link. So therefore, let's see, one moment. Okay, the link is there. Now, as I stated before, those who go to enter the panel, those who are going to enter the chat, let's keep it positive, okay? This is not a show for smoke. This is not a show for righteousness. The whole point is to discuss intelligent matter. Now, I see there's 2 people that's currently watching. The link is there. So I'm going to ask if you wish to participate, you're free to do so. Everybody is welcome to join. and I mean everybody. All that I ask is please do not outspeak the host, which is myself. And I see we have someone here. Now, before I let the guest in, I'm going to read the disclaimer. The views of the guests who appear on the channel are not necessarily the views of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without consent of the host, Jose Negron, or the channel Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image on this channel. Some of the views which the guest may hold may be offensive to some viewers. If you don't like the content, you can block the channel. Oops. Good evening, Denise.
Good evening.
Oh, hi. How are you doing today?
I am good.
I know.
Cold.
We're not going to go there, okay? We're not going to go there. You know how I feel about the subject, and I know how you feel.
Absolutely.
So let's just say, daughter, I love you.
I love you too.
We're going to disagree on this one.
Well, yeah, I think, we already know what's up with the weather.
And if it's not enough, we have the one, the only, Rakim.
What's up, Rakim?
What's up? What's up to my sister niece? What's up to my YouTube dad, Jose? What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I never thought I had to make that type of announcement, but considering the state of affairs, it was necessary.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Well, it is what it is, man. You know.
Yes.
Shout out to Tina. I see Tina's in the chat.
What's up, Christina?
Yes. Of course, Christina, you're always welcome to enter your comments in the chat. And we'll just leave it there. Okay. Now I did seek some information regarding the topic, which is, have we lost the art of respectable dialogue? Now, there's certain things that we need to bear in mind in order to have respectable dialogue. We need to be willing to hear hard things. Okay. Now, we're going to hear viewpoints and thoughts and philosophies that we may not agree upon. Now, I said it again and again, Denise, the first time that we met, we had a disagreement.
That is right. That is absolutely right.
Yes. However, we were able to have a respectable interchange.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's one of the most important parts that, and has been forgotten in today's society. It's how to do a good back and forth.
Yes. I think you said it very well, Denise. Those who get emotional have already lost the argument.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they already tap out.
Yes.
So.
And
it's if you want my opinion,
by all means, go ahead.
If you want my opinion, something that we must ask ourselves when speaking about communication and dialogue and whatnot, I feel like ultimately people struggle with listening and communication because they like being in control. And when you're talking, you're in control, and this problem keeps getting worse and worse. Like, you would think that as a person ages, it gets better, but that's not what we're seeing today. When as we age, we become more set in the way we are, in the way we think, and we start resisting new concepts, new beliefs, and whatnot. So of course, we're gonna become more set in our ways. So if you were like a very control freak or insecure individual that has to be in control of the conversation, in control of the narrative, and you cannot open yourself to different ideas, and whatnot, you're going to have a lot of issues communicating with people. You know, does that
I
make sense?
I agree. Now, of course, you know that not only am I am a municipal employee and also a union rep. So therefore, you have to speak with all different types of individuals with different personalities and whatnot. Let's get see if we can get Rakeen's input on this topic.
I think Denise has covered it excellently. Because that was an issue that I had. I didn't really understand that people can be, they can get set in their ways or anything like that. So, I used to think that because I was open minded, excuse me, I used to think that because I was open minded, that I can get people to see things from a perspective that I saw. Because I'm always, if it's something, if it's some type of information that's brought to my attention that I'm not aware of, that sounds like it makes sense, or you're able to have facts to back that up, then I'm one of those people that can say, okay, this is accurate, or it sounds like it's accurate, or maybe I was wrong about certain things. I've never been the type of person. Don't get me wrong. We all have emotions. We can get irritated with what someone said, what someone says, but I've never been the type to fly off the handle because someone disagrees with me, or someone, don't really, have the same similar views that I have, or they have opposing views, or things like that. But it goes into what Denise said. It's certain people that don't want to really know much better. They, as people become older, they become set in their ways, and if it's certain things that has affected them through life, they tend to double down on their perspective on things, because a lot of people don't want to change. They want to see the world through those red lenses that they see them through, and they just decide to, whatever other person that has an opposing view on certain things, even if that person may make sense, then I still don't want to see it. They'll just double down on certain things. So I had to learn that myself. A lot of people do have, um, I'm not sure if I can, well, low emotional IQ, where they allow their emotions to overtake themselves when they're tend to engage with people that have different views from themselves, and we've been dealing with that a lot. We have to remember that when you're on YouTube, you're not dealing with people that are professional debaters or speaking in a professional manner. These are people that, who knows what type of problems they have going on in their lives. Everybody has a phone, and they just get on to you know pretty much push their own narrative, and grab as many people as they possibly can that can agree with them. That's why everyone has subscribers, no matter how we've heard some crazy stuff on YouTube. We've heard some crazy stuff, and those people have subscribers. So that means that those are groups of people that agree with them. No matter how much we may see it differently, they still have people that agree with them. So that's pretty much it. A lot of the times you can, have a conversation with somebody without it, coming to um, a shouting match, or going to a back and forth. But sometimes you may have those people that you may engage with that they don't see it that way at all, and they'll speak on certain things, that and speak to a person the way that they would, I don't know, maybe speak to people in their personal life. I don't know.
Well, one thing I will say, as far as dealing with other individuals in these YouTube streets, for the most part, people have been respectable to me. Okay. Now, of course, I have experiences with a couple of individuals who were not so respectable to me and whatnot. But I'm happy to say that the majority of the individuals that I have encountered have been respectable to me. Have we disagreed? Yes. However, we have been able to be agreeable when we disagree. Unfortunately, that same courtesy is not only always spread to other individuals.
Yeah, but you know what? There is something that I would love to share with you guys. There is a book that I encountered a while ago. Whenever you guys have the chance, pick it up. It's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Mm-hmm.
And that book basically taught me everything I needed to know to actually um, communicate more effectively. And I think people, if you often have to go back and forth, and something that we touched very lightly yesterday on my stream, because it was not about this topic specifically, but we briefly brushed through it. If you have to resort to assumptions, to crazy types of communications, and you seem that you always have this cloud of having to feel like you're being attacked, or you have to go back and forth, and you feel this urge to constantly go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you're stuck in that spot. You have to take an evaluation at who you are, because one thing that people people can lie to us here on YouTube. People can lie to us in real life, but people cannot lie to themselves. Regardless of what they show us, even in the way they communicate, they cannot lie to themselves. And that is what the four agreements are about. It's basically making four agreements with yourself. And I wanted to share them with you guys. Um, because I picked up the book, and I did like a little briefing on it. And basically, the four agreements are like this. The first one is be impeccable with your word. And what that means is speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others, and use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. That's become be impeccable with the use of words. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. And when you're immune to the opinions, the options and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. And that's something that we've seen throughout communications, not even just here on YouTube, but even in our day to day lives. And some of the points that he brings up is find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want, which is approaching people instead of assuming what you think that they are trying to say. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, and drama. And that one, that one's got hit home for certain people. And with just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life just by not making assumptions, because you will save yourself a lot of drama and stuff that you don't need. And then the fourth agreement is a commitment for you to always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. And under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and regret. So, if anybody, it's always caught up in drama, assumptions, toxicity, back and forths, anger, all this type of emotional things when it comes to communication, pick up that book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It will change your life.
Actually, you know something, Denise, you
Yeah.
actually read my mind, because the next 3 points that I wish to talk about is be clear with your intent and desired outcome, uh, be solution and common ground minded, and be careful yet honest with your words. First of all, we have the introvert Boricua, and we have the one, the only, the outspoken, the fearless Radical Latino.
The unsuable.
Good evening. what's up? What's up?
Yeah.
What's
What's
going
going
on, guys?
on?
What's up, Ramon? What's up, Denise? What's up, Rakim? What's going on, Jose?
Hey,
Good
Radical.
evening.
What's up?
Good.
What's up, Rad? Shout out to my boy Ramon. Shout out
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you
yeah.
Mr.
guys, man.
I
Mr.
just
Unsuable for
Miss-
68 weeks.
Hey,
I'm,
Joaquin. What's
I
happening?
feel like I've been
My
like
boy
going.
Ramon, what's going on with you, bro?
Yeah, what's up, Ramon? I feel like I've been going on a stream media tour because this afternoon I had a small little debate with a white
Hey, it's all
supremacist,
good. It's all good, Papa.
and
Oh, really?
yeah, it would. Oh, dude, when it comes out, hopefully they don't edit me out. But when it comes, ooh, I was busting his ass. He was talking about Latinos should join white supremacy. I'm like, well, some do, but y'all don't accept them. And he goes like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he goes like, he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay, would you let a Latino marry your daughter? Oh, hell no. I'm like, thank you. That's it. That's it. That's it. Like, come on now. Like, you can fool these other people. You ain't fooling me. And then I just got off of another stream that was actually really it was a very informative stream. I liked it. And now I gotta bless Jose. Good evening. I gotta bless Jose.
Now, what do you think about the topic? Have we lost the art of respectable dialogue?
Ooh, that's the topic, dude. I just got off of a stream. I didn't even hear the whole thing. But if that's the topic, I'm going to agree. Yes, we have lost the respect of artistic dialogue because a lot of people we have to understand when it comes to conversations. We got to understand we're dealing with individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Each individual comes packed different. It takes a real individual with some sense, not education, not anything else, not cojones, none of that BS. Some sense, some common sense to not get emotional when you have a discussion. A lot of times, these high level discussions or controversial discussions gets overshadowed by the loudest person in the room, the person that gets irate and very emotional. That's what ends up happening, and unfortunately, that ratchetness is what people like to see, you know. But I call that the barber shop argument because let's be honest, anybody's been in a barber shop, especially in the hood, the loudest person in the room is
That's
usually right.
facts. That's
Yeah, yeah.
facts.
The
That is
loudest
facts.
the loudest person in the room is usually right. So they could be so somebody could be like, they're putting chips inside the Vex, whatever, and then you're like, say no, not really. I said that they, and then you're like, okay, I guess you're right, so that's how I see it. A lot of times emotions gets the best of a individual in a conversation, and I think people have again lost that ability of discourse due to the fact that they don't know how to separate a regular civil conversation with feelings.
See, that's the reason why we're having this discussion to see what we can do to bring back the art of respectable dialogue. Now, I have, illustrated some points, and I have some further points um, to what we can do to create respectable dialogue. Another point is be sure to ask questions because we can hear something from someone, but we can get the wrong interpretation or the wrong reception. So it's very important that when we hear someone say something, that we ask that person to make sure that we have the correct understanding, as I like to say, that we're all on the same page.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you can share what I
Yes,
found like
yes,
a
I'll do
more
that right now.
detailed of what I was like expressing earlier. those are the 4 agreements of the book that I recommend people to read. I've read this book before, and like I said, that's what changed the way I communicate personally. So if you, like I said, have any issues that are on this list, and or you have been accused of those, because those are the people that are receiving your communication, pick up that book. The author is Don Miguel Ruiz. It's an amazing book that will teach you not only how to communicate effectively, but learn how to deal with people that don't. So
There's a little issue with that, Denise. I don't see the book where you need to pay me back by $200.
250. It's 250, Rad. It's
Oh yeah,
250.
It's 250. Remember, you just scammed $250.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You scammed
He gave me the
250,
late Black Friday discount.
You see, I was gonna be nice and say let her keep the 50. You know what I mean? But now you guys reminded me. You're right. Where's my money, Denise?
I'm never gonna send it to you. You have to live with that. That was a gift.
Now, I have a name for my supporters, which is Uncommon Folk.
Really? I thought it would be like the Josecitos or something.
No.
Josecito, ay, me muero.
This channel is bigger than me. Okay?
No, los nietos de José. Los nietos.
Los nietos.
Okay, well, look, Denise.
No. Le estás diciendo viejo a José. Que le está viejo
we could be called the evenings. Ooh, no, let me stop.
No, you see,
Denise, I don't know about that.
See, Denise has the Latin explainers. Radical, you have your supporters.
They're called the radical the radophiles.
Okay.
No.
Now the introvert Boricua, I don't know what's his name for his supporters.
Not yet. I'm not having any real followers yet. I will admit. So that's something that we're working on.
Wait, so you got a channel, Ramon?
Yeah.
Well, I have done a couple of live streams with Bagay, the 18 letter here. I mean, you can check it out. I mean, we have touched on a few subjects. We are working on what the next live is gonna be, but it's gonna come soon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay, cool.
Well, let me take this opportunity, people. If you want to have quality and educated content, I mean, please subscribe to Latin Explaining, my cyber daughter. Also, the introvert Boricua, and of course, the Radical Latino.
Yeah, Radical Latino. Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Unsuable for 68 weeks.
68 weeks running. Yeah, that's right. This new year, I might start a new one. I might be like the most hated Latino for 1 week running, and just keep on going.
Well, well, I have big plans for next year. Okay. First of all, I'm gonna make sure I have more experts to come on my channel to share their wisdom. I'm also going to be doing interviews.
Yeah, 2022 is going to be packed.
You're also going to be what? Doing what?
Doing interviews.
Oh, interviews. Oh, shit. Okay.
So don't be surprised if I reach out to you guys on Instagram and ask if I can interview you.
You're going to have to talk to my sister. No, let me stop.
Oh my God.
Let me stop.
No, but seriously, I just wish, because this is something that the whole communication issues that we have, it's alarming. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. It's alarming the rate that we have of people that lacks this. And I don't know if it's because social awkwardness is growing with social media, or if it's because people, we're dealing simply with the result of, bad parenting. What are you guys' opinion on that?
You know what? I think it's a couple issues. Some people, for whatever reason, was not taught the art of respectable interchange of thoughts. I mean, we can see that not just here in social media, but in our respected worlds, where we work and our neighbors and what have you. Now, to continue these points, one thing that we need to do now, it may be a little controversial with some people. Be ready to forgive and ask for forgiveness. Now, I'm gonna talk about myself. Okay, so I'm not gonna talk about anybody. I'm gonna talk about myself. Actually, there was one time on Denise's stream where I was not the happy camper that you see now. I was triggered by a person which I'm not going to name.
Radical. Yeah, that's right. He was triggered by me.
You heard?
No. Remember, we're not going to mention anybody's names. And the fact of the matter is, throughout the stream, I was not my usual self. So I did at the end acknowledge that, and I did apologize, which is something that certain individuals have a problem of doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me since we're opening up, let me open up like a book. Like let me just like Denise, we'll talk about this off camera, off air. But I was very, very, very angry with you yesterday.
Oh my God, why?
Angry with you yesterday.
Why?
Because I felt like you wasted your time. That's all. That's all I gotta say. I'll talk to you about it.
I know.
I'll talk to you
I
about
know.
it. I talk to you about it. After. But I was not disappointed, but angry. I understand that was a conversation that needed to be had. Yeah, okay, cool. But I was very angry. Like I don't know if you heard me on the or saw me on the chat. I was like, you wasted your time or whatever.
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I just like I was like, I'm done. I'm
But
completely
you know
done.
what? You know what's the thing, Rat? Like at some point, with what we're dealing with in society, we have to let people talk. And because usually it's something that Melanated Night says all the time. Do you guys have seen Tarzan the movie on Disney?
I only see the Dominican version.
Oh my God. Well, and at that point, Clayton is cutting, which is the villain. He's cutting like a lot of, I don't know how to say it in English, like a lot of this maleza, a lot of this trees and whatnot. And Tarzan is telling him, stop cutting Chet, because he realized you have some around your neck. And he kept cutting them, and he hanged himself because he could not foresee the one that was on his neck. Usually when people talk, and we let them express themselves for several minutes without interrupting, you can kind of see what they're trying to do, and they hung themselves. So I don't like to create my platform for that.
I'm talking shit.
No, but this is the thing. You have to let people express what's on their mind, unfiltered and uncontrolled and unleashed, to be able to gauge where they're at.
I agree with you somewhat. I agree with you.
No, and I agree with you with the waste of time, because I know where you're coming from, and trust me, I know, because
me.
Go ahead, Jose.
Okay. We had someone called Montana Facts. Welcome, Montana Facts.
All right, thank you.
So what's on your mind?
I just want to say one thing. Guys. Montana Facts is actually.
Excuse me, okay. I just want to get Montana Facts to say.
No, that's all right. 18th. He's not out of pocket. I'm gonna let him go, and then absolutely, Jose, I'll go ahead and address the group. But
Okay,
I
I
was
just
actually
want to make
invited
sure that
in.
you have an opportunity to speak. That's all.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Understood.
yeah, Jose. I just wanted to say Montana Facts is actually my close friend. I invited him to the live stream. He's
Okay.
actually a close friend of mine that grew up together. We like brothers, so I just wanted to invite him to the live stream and he gives his opinion. He's
He's the
definitely a person
he's
that's
the he's
logical.
the he's the 19th letter.
All right.
Oh my
So,
god.
as as um as he just stated, born and raised Chicago, Illinois. Currently reside in the north suburbs of Austin, Texas. It's called Cedar Park. Um, been here off and on about a cumulative of between 10 and 11 years, but I always go back and forth. It was hard for me to get out of Chicago. It's my heart. But I do. Um, I am of you know African American descent, even though that's a made up term, but we'll get to that later on.
Okay.
And there are Puerto Ricans in my family, West Indians, Jamaicans, all of that stuff. So basically, everything that is a port, a slave port. I have direct lineage to. Um, you know, uh, I was invited, because I was told about, the subject matter. These are things that 18 and I, talk about, leisurely, every day. Every day we can get a chance to talk. We don't go too long without talking to each other. But so a lot of things, I was kind of told of the group, kind of what to expect, coming into it, a couple months ago or whatever. Now schedules, allow me to be a part of it. So thank you for welcoming me in, and hopefully I can bring something positive or a thought provoking to the group, from here on out.
Well, the fact of the matter is, you have you have a home here to opine. Um, Now, the topic is, have we lost the art of respectable dialogue? So,
Mm,
what's your point on the subject? What's your viewpoint?
okay. Um, to be honest, um, it's under siege. It's under attack. It's under constant attack. I don't think we've lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Forums like this, kind of prove that it isn't dead, but it is not thriving.
Yeah.
It's challenged, on a daily basis. Even if we look at, you know, provisions, added to our social media outlets like Instagram. Instagram will bleep out your videos. Censorship is a big thing. Cancel culture is a direct, uh, derivative of that action. One thing I did leave out, as I talk, I'm going to remember things about myself. I'm a disabled veteran. I spent 15 months in Kambuka, Iraq, um, and I was a combat military police officer. Um, and so the liberties and freedoms, I kind of take those very, very seriously because I risk my life for them. And freedom of speech and self-expression, as well as God-given rights of choice and rationalization. I feel like this is a position that we should never be in this country. Um, it is once again under attack, um, and it will continue to be until personally, my personal view is uh, if we were to unite. There's so many divisional properties that snatch us away from each other to keep us away from agreeing with each other. Because if we agree with each other, then we can provoke and evoke change. But if we find little tidbits of fractions of things to, divide us or argue or build resentment, then the machine of censorship and divisional principles will prevail, and that's why they are now, in my opinion.
Well, first of all, before anything else, I just want to thank you very much for your military service. The fact of the matter is, you did not have to join the military, but you
Thank you.
did because you felt that you was called to do so, and the fact that you was injured on duty, the fact just shows how serious was your commitment. Now, my first stream that I did had to do with is there censorship in YouTube because
Absolutely.
unfortunately not everyone is willing to tolerate other people's viewpoints. And unfortunately, we have in the panel individuals who have been attacked um, simply because they have a different viewpoint. And I'm sure they can expound what they experience. So the whole purpose of this channel is to create a positive environment where we can have a respectable interchange. We can deal with everyday issues and try to find some logical solutions because it's very easy to complain about something. But it's another thing when we try to find solutions to the problems that we face.
Hmm. I agree.
Okay. Let's see if we can get the introvert Boricua to share his viewpoint.
No, I mean there is not much else that I could add that wasn't already mentioned. Unfortunately, we are in kind of like a society, well at least on these spaces, this the YouTube and all, where unfortunately, um, what they call ratchetness is what is encouraged. That's what it gets a lot of the views and um, gets a lot of traction. It is encouraged, and it does um, cultivate this this kind of like lack of characters when it comes to people being able to interact with each other, and that's why it's easy to have to deal with people that they cannot lead with their emotions when it comes to interacting with others, as what Denise was pointing out when it comes to being able to interact with one another. There are certain guidelines that only the people that are not emotional can follow, because what she was pointing out, those characteristics, those guidelines, those things require, it is mandatory that you take emotion out of the interactions, so you can successfully do it in a more structured and orderly manner. But there are too many people that unfortunately it will be very difficult for them to do it. It will have to take a lot of reconditioning and a lot of discipline for them to do that. And we were talking a little bit about people that apparently don't have any discipline, even though they were, according to them, in certain institutions where you do have to have discipline, but they don't display it, and they have these attitudes and these emotional ways of being that makes it difficult for other people to interact with them and to be able to have a dialogue with them, because they go against all of the guidelines that Denise was just pointing out. They behave the exact opposite of them. So it makes it very difficult to get through. Doesn't matter how good your intentions are when it comes to be able to talk with others. If others are just being overly emotional, that there is not much that one can do. It's
And,
unfortunate,
and, and
but
these are the
too many
same,
people.
yeah, and these are the
Yeah.
same people that will tell you right in the beginning of a conversation, let's not get emotional, and those are the first ones getting emotional.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not only that,
No, and
making
the thing is that,
assumptions.
yeah, and the thing is that if you try to correct them, and if they come at you with attitudes, and they try to say slick things at you and take shots at you, and if you answer that in any way, if you take a little shot back, then they start crying victim. I mean, it's
Well, if I
you
may,
can-
intro, may I propose a question?
Sure, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
Yeah.
a little bit about me. I like to, ask questions that'll provoke a thought,
Okay.
instead of, having the verbal ping pong effect, of firing back. Because sometimes if you can, just for lack of better terms, flip the light switch. Because some people listen to respond, some people don't listen to understand. So sometimes,
That's
to
true.
be, we have to take that responsibility in, communication and an exchange to provoke a thought, because they might not even see it the way we are presenting it, because they just want to be right. And there are a lot of people, that we call them keyboard warriors or phone gangsters, or whatever, that can be confrontational in a safe space, which is either their office or home or wherever, and that curtails their response, because a lot of times people bring what the day did to them, or with the week or the month brought them to a forum to try, to get that off on someone else. It has nothing to do with information or misinformation. Sometimes that's just the character of the person, just like you just said, introvert. That, you know, it's like, oh, it wasn't you, it was someone else that interjected that said, like they first say, hey, let's take the emotions out of it, or, no disrespect, or no offense. Like that's offensive immediately. So now, as soon as someone says no offense, or not to cut you off, or, like something like that, it's like, no, you just absolutely did that. So now I'm going to deal with that first before I even deal with what you said, if you're not, a disciplined listener. So I think the first route of curtailing that behavior, or being able to impact it in a positive manner, is to first implement self-control, because an argument has to have two or more parties. Otherwise you just sound, and look foolish. um if someone can't, articulate or exchange, with their delivering or whatever, they're going to phase themselves out, and we can't give them what they're looking for, that attention, that rile, to rustle feathers and things like that, because then that takes away from the scope of what we're doing, and that goes into, the current, state of society right now. As long as we don't have a structure or a leader, that's going to be very, very hard to stick to. If you don't have um, guidelines, rules, regulations, and standards. And I think if we can implement that, slowly, and a little bit of any and everything, I really feel like we'll be able to cover more ground. I always like to look at the responsibility of myself first, before, someone else. I can impact the change by impacting it myself, and if I have, help, then it won't be so much heavy lifting. That's all I got.
Okay.
What was the
Actually,
question? What was the question for the group?
The question is that something that you would be able to consider when talking to a disgruntled or emotional, or a premise driven person? Would you be able to accept that they don't have that discipline or even that understanding to be able to continue to make it to the finish line? Like, okay, where are we going? Like, just being able to, stay focused on, the topic at hand, listening to, their perspective, interjecting yours, and then moving and moving it along yourself. Would you be able to do that?
um, first of all, I am a municipal employee of the
Yes,
city
ma'am.
of the city of New York. So at times I do deal with people who are upset for various reasons, and many times they can have legitimate reasons
Mm-hmm.
why they're upset. What I endeavor to do is to recognize the fact that this person is upset. I believe in giving this person my full attention, hearing this individual out, and then focus on what I can do to try to assist this person, if it's within my means. If nothing,
Absolutely.
if nothing else, at least I can listen without being judgmental,
Hmm.
and understand that this person is airing his or her grievances, and this individual has a right to do so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, look, I consider myself, and I've said it even on my stream, I'm a benevolent dictator. There's limits to that, though. You know, that whole, because I believe in disagreements. You know, my thing is what we're seeing today is just people that just want to disagree for the sake of disagreeing, and that sounds more like the job of a therapist. And I'm not qualified to deal with individuals like that. So, because there's nothing to gain from it. You can gauge. I mean, I will engage with anyone in conversation, but after two conversations and I see the same behavior, then I just decide to abandon all type of interactions because it's not beneficial neither to me, to the people that watches us, or even the topic, or even that person for that matter. So that it's a good technique, but I think it has to be implemented with limitations.
Of course. I mean, we can't,
Yeah.
we can't drink, 10 gallons of water, and be healthy, a day. But so I do understand. Um, but
I
and I do agree with you 100%. Everything within means and limitations, to protect the integrity of what we're doing here. Uh, but if someone cannot articulate their
Mhm.
argument properly initially, so I'll compare it to civil rights, right? So civil rights is some BS to me. Um, and it's BS because African American people or blacks are the only ones that have to deal with civil rights as an ethnicity. Everything else within civil rights is a choice or a decision or something that you identify with, not something you're born into. Um, Blacks don't have human rights. So that's kind of why the black argument isn't taken as seriously. And to use a term that was said earlier, which is ratchetness or less than educated approach. And these things are implemented and frowned upon because as a conquered people, we've had to yell, scream, and make noise to get any type of response or feedback or any type of national attention or anything. So once that was, you know, um, it's kind of like a child. If a child, yells, kicks, screams, knocks some stuff over, whatever, now it's, oh, what's going on with the child? What does the child need? Does the child have a fever? Is the child hungry? Is the diaper soiled? XYZ, da da da. And that's been the history of people that haven't been heard. So I'm a little more sensitive to it than some, or I'll even go on a limb and say most, because that's been the plight of my people. So I believe that that's why I take a different approach initially, like you said, within means, um, and with consideration, because culturally, that has been the only thing that's gotten a response. I'm not excusing it. I don't champion it myself because I know the result is exhausting. But it is, just something to kind of think about. um when we are engaging other people is, who are their role models, who are their leaders, what brought them to
mm,
the point of trying to communicate that way. Now, I'm not trying to be a therapist. I'm not telling people to, come lay on my couch, and spill it out to me. But it's just something to think about, because if we want to gain or build anything, we're going to have, if it's 50 of those people, we're going to have 15 of them understand it's a different approach for the same result. That's all I'm saying.
I
Yeah,
understand that, but the thing is, look, this is my thing. I sympathize with people. I empathize with people. I don't sympathize with people. And I
I appreciate that.
understand. I understand people's stance. From Puerto Rico, we have the same issues. I understand
It's the
people's
exact
stance.
same issue.
Literally, mirror effect. Now, my thing is, everybody in this world comes from trauma, because trauma is the only thing that shapes character. So if we start accommodating everyone's feelings, we're never going to move, because at some point those accommodations will interject another person's little universe, and we cannot. The world isn't old. For example, myself, I had to grow up from being reactive to stuff and be more assertive, because the world doesn't owe me anything. It doesn't matter if I want to be immature, if I want to be reactive, if I wanted to be impulsive. I was still gonna have to take the brunt of consequence, and the world's not gonna be kind to me, because this is what happened. And when we're getting into a society that's almost even demanding kindness from people, when in reality, if you demand kindness from one sector of the population, but then the rest of the world doesn't function like that, those people are getting cheated, because then they have to be give what they don't get. And that's how we deplete our tanks from being productive and moving forward and having more mental clarity. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay.
Can I respond to that also?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm about to. All right, I'm about to get out of here, but let me just say, I I don't go into every conversation trying to change someone's mind. I think that's a losing strategy. Usually, a lot of
Absolutely.
people usually a lot of people already have their mind pretty much made up. The only thing that you have to do is just challenge beliefs. Challenging beliefs
Correct.
shouldn't be. Yeah, so challenging beliefs shouldn't be something personal. It shouldn't be. People
Yeah.
shouldn't see that as a personal attack. They shouldn't see that as something that is attacking the person. Is just attacking the belief system. That's basically it. Now,
Absolutely.
one thing that you said that really hit home with me is that conquered people make noise. That's 1,000% true. In America, Black Americans have been conquered, and they have the political unity to come together to make noise, and effective noise. Yes, it gets bogged down by LGBT and all this other stuff, but let's move away from that. Let's just look at the effectiveness of the noise. Latin people, in my opinion,
Hmm.
are the only ones that are blinded by that political effectiveness that Black people have. And the reason why I say they're blinded is because a lot of times there's political things and social things that affect us the same way as Black Americans, but we don't move as a unit, because a lot of times Latin people see themselves nationalistically instead of all Latin people. Latin people usually see themselves as individuals than a whole unit, and that's the thing that I feel that we lack. We lack that unification of seeing each other as one person. We do come together when it comes to some ratchet stuff. You know what I'm saying? But everything else we lack in, and
Well, well, wait, wait, wait. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wait. Let me ask you a question.
yeah.
Where does that start? Right? 'Cause I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you that that issue that you have with people of Latin descent is in a lot better hands than you believe, because it starts at home. Your families haven't been rocked. Latino people, on the record and for the record, have much stronger family structures than the Afro American community. It's broken in the house first. We leave the house and assemble, right? Which is like, you know, becoming a captain of chaos, if you will. But at home, they're structured. One thing I've always admired about Latino people, especially in a structured household, is role appropriation, right? So,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
instance,
Men play their part. Women play. Yeah.
right. Hey, you pregnant? You're not touching a damn thing in here.
No,
You know what I'm saying? Like you,
I feel you on that, and I'm sorry to even cut you
yeah.
off
Come
because
on, come on.
I really gotta go because my phone's about to die. You know,
It's not gonna be my last time in here. We'll
yeah,
pick
no,
up.
no, I feel you. But what I will say is I understand your point of view about the Latino family structure, which is correct for the most part, not across the board, but for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most part, you know, Latino families are united, but it doesn't it doesn't translate into political strength. It never translates into political strength. Uh, Latinos right now, right, are being classified as Hispanic and Latinos, but not as a race. Literally, anybody could just come in and just claim this. We are so conquered and structurally inefficient to the point where they're forcing Latinx upon the majority of Latinos that don't even want to identify as that. So, yes, family structure is strong, but it doesn't translate into political structure. It doesn't translate into anything. And I'm going to just give you an example and then I'm going to leave it. I'm not trying to just give
No,
my
go
last
ahead. Go
word.
ahead.
I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm just, my last example is when George Floyd, tragically passed away due to that white supremacist. Everybody, everybody united, right after black people did. When they started seeing that this movement of black folks uniting wasn't going to die down, everybody came together, right? A same situation happened with a Mexican in California. Only 6 people showed up to that protest. There's a big difference here. The same thing that happened in California with that, I think, security guard that got shot by one of them race soldiers over there. Only 16 people showed up. We don't Latin people do not move as a unit. Family structure, that's great. It doesn't translate into political effectiveness. That's pretty much I gotta say. I'm sorry I gotta go, but that's pretty much
No, it's
what
okay.
I gotta say.
Radical, radical.
Yeah.
First, okay, take care. Um, I don't know what happened to Joaquin. I don't know what happened to Montana Facts, but
His phone could have died, or he probably got kicked out.
okay. Well, please let him know that he's always welcome to come here. You know, wait a minute. I think okay. Okay, I'm glad that you're back, Montana Facts. Now, let me just say a couple other things that are important to have respectful dialogue. Listen without interruption, making reasonable eye contact, validate what's being said but repeating it in your own words, and focus on what
Time
being
for bed
said.
is 9:19.
AG Montana, okay.
I just muted it. My bad. I just put the kids to sleep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just stating some other points which will be helpful in respectable dialogue, which is listen without interruption, making eye contact that's not piercing, but making sure it's comfortable for the other person. Validate what's being said, repeating it in your own words, and focus on what being said.
Okay.
So
No doubt.
anyone wants to chime in, by all means do so.
I think that's pretty solid information that you were just saying, Jose, and just like what Denise was saying earlier, like I just think it has gotten to a point, like from what we learned throughout having dialogue with different people on different, platforms and everything, it's not about, being right or wrong. it's the fact that even if I'm wrong, as long as I have enough people to say I'm right, then I'm right, which we see throughout YouTube because of the messages that are spreaded, throughout social media. And it shows that if a lot of these messages are able to gain traction, then a lot of people tend to, go along with that type of rhetoric. And we have to, like, what we were speaking about earlier. Some people, a lot of these people haven't had therapy. A lot of these people are not, these are not the days of the 60s where you would see people like James Baldwin or different people like that who are able to have debates with people where they're able to keep their emotions intact. They're able to speak from a respectful dialogue. Those days are long gone because now, we have our own media where we can get on and interact with different people. And a lot of these people are people that are set in their ways, people that really never really learned to communicate without showing a lot of emotion and various things like that.
Okay. Anybody else wishes to opine?
One part of it that is very important is like when interacting with folks that might be a little bit more on the emotional side is to try to get them to stick to the subject, because there are the types that you will try to start talking to them about a certain subject and then they bounce all over the place onto different subjects and expecting you to play catch up to them, trying to make themselves think like they know more than you, or they're more quick-witted than you. Maybe they're quick-witted at deflecting onto something else. That's something that I have observed, because I'm more of a watcher. I'm more of a listener and an observer, hence the name that I use. But there are people that when they feel like they need to win an argument, you try to start talking to them about a certain subject, and they want to bounce onto something else or deflect onto something else, expecting you to play catch up. And one thing that I believe is important is to kind of remind them, like, okay, let's get back to the subject. Let's stick to what we were talking about originally. I mean, because there are the types that are very good at deflection, and uh, and I think that's very important. Um, but aside from that, I think most of it, what has been expressed, has been very much on point, and I can't help but agree. And also something that the unknown mentioned that I do agree with him or her. Um, that last comment of his about being of a certain age and not having time for foolishness. And I totally agree. I mean, because I am of a certain age, I wasn't raised by social media. And Rakim, you and I talked about it, that we kind of we
Yes,
kind of are more
yes,
from a time where, because we didn't grow up with social media, you can't just run your mouth about people, because that could get you in trouble. It could be with somebody from your town or your neighborhood, or somebody who will probably know where you live, so the trouble will come to you. So definitely, I mean, you can't be one cannot be reckless. The younger generations, because they are doing things online, they feel like they can be reckless with what they say and how they address other people, and they get comfortable. They get comfortable because they're not dealing with real life. They're not dealing with things face to face. I mean, it will be one hell of a rude awakening if they were to beef with somebody online, and then that person were to find them physically, were to dox
Not,
them and to find their address and and show up
but
at where they
but you
live or
know
where they
what?
work at.
You know what? That
Yeah,
is that is exactly something that I wish didn't existed in this space. The need for escalating situations. And it brings me to two
yeah,
things that I think, in my opinion, are eating at the whole um, you know, art of dialogue, you know. And one, I like to call it monkey branching, because
Yeah.
if you notice, a lot of people usually, when having interaction, especially on this platform, use the
Yeah.
term moving the goalpost. Uh,
Yeah.
Basically, I call it monkey branching because it's people that look, when you are literally, first of all, we have to start with the purpose of communication. The purpose of communication is to interact with each other, see if we could learn of each other or just exchange ideas. That is the purpose of communication. There's no other purpose for it. And when you're trying to do that with someone that likes to monkey branch, when you're trying to express your idea, they express theirs, and then that person starts realizing that their idea is completely flawed and it doesn't have any data to be backed up on. They just move to the next branch in order to not say, hey, I have to revisit my belief system and tweak something and change it over there. And they take it as, oh, you're being just arrogant, or you're being this, or you're trying to be this type of person that's trying to change what I'm doing. Or they go into the full personal attack mode simply because they're confronted with a reality they refuse to accept. And those two things combined is exactly why social media is the perfect environment and space for people that are in this type of realm used to communicate. That's why if you see them in the real world, and we call them out on how in the real world most of them tend to be losers because they lack this thing. And that's not to shame them, but it's a reality. You're losing a life because you're used to this synthetic form of communication. Right now, I could be sipping a pina colada in Australia. You guys wouldn't even know because you can't see me. I could be speaking this and you won't be able to read my body language. And that it's something that's so important for us to keep alive in order to keep revisiting our belief system every time, because that's what makes a human being not to stop tweaking ideas and not become, what I said at the beginning of the stream, very set in your ways to the point that you are unable to progress.
Okay. Let's get
I agree.
let's
Definitely.
get Montana facts view on in this area.
Okay. For the most part, I completely agree. I want to say about 90%. Um, my reserve 10% is under the scope of this. Um, at the end of the day, I think I can speak for everybody and say that the monkey wrenching or the moving of the goalpost is vexing and irritating. Especially as you're trying to progress or move the conversation or the thought provoking elements forward. But there is a beauty in that. I don't want people to be uh, so turned off from those actions, because sometimes that's when you get the best out of a person in the realm. Now once again, I believe it was Miss Denise that said it earlier, that we don't have the most patience for that, or but sometimes, like, even I'm gonna use Kanye West as an example. If you take the rant out of what he says, a lot of the time he's spot on. He's just a lot of eccentric in his presentation. But if you take away, like you said, the props, the body language, the influx in tone, the perception of the arrogance of the presentation, you can actually get to the meat and gravy of what's actually being relayed. Um, and it's a fine line, slippery slope, by definition. To be able to, filter through it and process it. It's a small percent of people that I believe that I've encountered that have, the uncanny ability to be able to do that, to strip down to unwrap, what is. And the 18th letter, now we joke about it all the time, introvert, about the strength of uh the internet and the social media aspect of, having an approach that isn't you, being the distant tough guy, to try to belittle, or, it's kind of like the kid that got bullied that was never cool in school, but now, he has a platform where it's figured out how to become a troll, to try to get his lick back and those things. But I don't want to go so far, Miss Denise, as call those people losers, because in this realm there's absolutely an avenue and a route to be prosperous, in that, that's a lane now. People are, becoming, six-figure earners and better, with that approach, which makes it more difficult to infiltrate and try to get people to see things the way we do right now. So it's going to always, now it's going to be a constant. I just want to be a realist and say that that's not ever going anywhere. Like, it's here to stay, because people are being rewarded for those type of approaches in life. Snitches, that used to be the worst thing in the world, to be a rat, but now people are making full-fledged careers of it. Et cetera, et cetera. Like the principles and approaches and techniques that we believe to be integrity based are being challenged more and more every day. And we just have to stand a little bit firmer on our beliefs. I don't believe it's going to get any easier, but I do believe that we can impact and affect and create a culture, within that subculture, because the culture that we're speaking of, was prior to, this new subculture of trolling, and using, aggressive, demeaning principles for financial and personal gain. Those things are being rewarded now. We're in the 2020s now. I think it's here to stay forever. A lot of things that, we subscribe to this day, were built on controversy and pushing the envelope. We had Howard Stern growing up. We had Mad Cow, or Mad Cow, wherever his name was. We had those people that pushed those envelopes, and they were rewarded, but it was a smaller group. Now you can do it and create, $5,000 a month income, and you're doing better than most of, the working world, with those numbers, getting $5,000, bi-weekly. It's not a hard thing to do with technology right now. So I just think that it's something that is going to build character for those that don't subscribe to it. And your integrity is going to be challenged and checked, every day. And as minorities, it's nothing different from what, we deal with, day to day. Even women, with sexist societies, placism, those things are challenged every single day. So I just think that, we just kind of got to, build our internet Teflon, and drive forward. And, who's supposed to be there will be there, and who isn't, they'll be handled accordingly.
Okay. I'm just gonna bring up this one. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but one thing, look, the reason why I don't necessarily agree with the fact of not calling these people losers, just to give you a little bit more of context, is because you have to, regardless, let's say, for example, let's take YouTube as one of the platforms that can create wealth for you. You don't create wealth from AdSense. That's something that has been debunked many times. You can even look it up on YouTube. AdSense, which is the monetization of your channel, creates a little bit of income, but not a lot. What creates income is your ability to use your platform that now is commercialized to broker deals with companies, products, or services. If you don't have a proper communication and you go out in the world and send an email to a company to actually give you a deal to make money out of your YouTube page, you could have 10,000 subscribers, 20,000, 40,000. But if that company says no and you're not able to go back and forth with them without getting emotional or butthurt, it's not going to happen. You get my point?
I
So it's
do, but those are and what I gathered from what you said, those are pretty much categorized in terms and conditions. Um, and are you familiar with a guy by the name of DJ Academics?
yes, I'm familiar with him.
Okay, he built his whole brand on negatively representing a community that he looks like he belonged to, but never spent a day in it. Right? He curtailed his presentation slightly and was able to become a multimillionaire per sponsoring, which I believe that that's what you're speaking of. The only thing I was saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, ma'am. I'm not, like, I'm all the way,
No,
there
it's
with
cool.
you.
It's cool if we disagree. I'm just
No. I
clarifying
just
a little bit, giving you a little bit more of context on why I
no,
said
I get
lose.
it, and I receive it. But what I'm saying is that brands that are going to be able to make presentations that will give you sponsorship, that will bring you on board, to stand behind what you're doing. The newer brands that are coming have less integrity than the standing ones, because the standing ones had you know, a different era to build their brand and their wealth. Now these new companies that are coming in, just like we stated at the beginning of me coming into the room, was people it's changing. So people are rewarding ignorance, as we see in entertainment, music, movies, things like that. So if you can perpetuate the issue, people are getting paid for that now. People aren't getting paid to have the proper approach, to be disciplined. No, we need you to be less disciplined. That's liquid money. If you're disciplined with your money, then that means that you're not making big business or big pharma their money. So if we uh, uh, pump ignorance, um, uh, flash principles, the things that you know that you can pass on, positively to your family, are diminishing, because those are the things that are tough. It's tough to listen when you're wrong, or when somebody doesn't agree with you. You're getting rewarded for that now. You're getting rewarded for not being able to challenge yourself. It's like, oh man, you're so eloquently ignorant. Come here. Let's keep that up. Let me fund that. So now you can
It's true.
reach. So now you can reach other ignorant people, and they'll never reach their full potential because they're okay right where you're telling them to be. So it's like a welcoming committee for ignorance now. So that's what I meant by to never go away. And we look at it, one way, but there's a welcoming committee for ignorance now. It's okay. You know what? Hey, they're all positive over there. Oh man, we ain't got to do all that, man. That's
And,
hard. That's tough,
and
right?
can I
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
and
I
can I
see
say
your point.
something real quick?
Go ahead, Ricky.
Oh, I'm sorry, Denise. I just wanted to say, and that goes into what we were saying earlier about maybe it's like with us, the way we were brought up, maybe part of us are stuck in our ways because we wasn't brought up into this social media phenomenon. So, like, we were taught, to carry ourselves with respect, carry yourself with poise, you know, don't be ignorant, because an ignorant person, nobody respects an ignorant person. You'll be made a fool of, and different things like that. And now that's changing because of what Montana Facts was saying.
Um, so one just going to highlight a couple further points, which is find an item which you agree with and then tell them. Show interest in what's being said by nodding, making eye contact, asking questions, uh, present your point as another way of looking at things, and asking for their opinions. Because by doing all that, it's a free interchange of ideas and information. So, you guys thoughts on that on these points?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
Denise.
Give me 1 second, guy. Give me 1 second, Jose.
Okay. Uh, while she's getting her thoughts, let me just share something that happened in my work life. There was a situation where um, we conducted a field visit, and we to a client's home, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, the person that was accompanying me, who was the supervisor, somehow was getting into an argument with the client in the client's home. So what I had to do was intervene and just simply try to de-escalate the situation. And what I said was, look, I can understand that you're upset. I can understand that you're going through a difficult situation. We're not here to make your situation worse. We're here to assist you as part of your process. And I was able to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah, yeah. It's always better when cooler heads can prevail. But then again, it's just that there is too much emotionalism out there, and that's not. I mean, there is no compatibility there. You can be. You could have a high IQ. You could be fairly intelligent, but if you can't control your emotions, you're always gonna look bad.
Game
You're always
over.
gonna,
Absolutely.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they sabotage themselves, and maybe that these are people that might have some kind of trauma, like it has already been mentioned. These are people that maybe they need some kind of counseling, trying to pinpoint what the problem is, the source of the issue, and they're not gonna be able to do better, get better, do better until they address that. And the first step into being able to address that is admit to themselves that there is an issue, that there is a problem. That's what it starts, as you know.
Hmm. If I may interject on your example, Jose.
Yes.
Um, I'm I've been in several of those type of situations. And believe it or not, I have been able to take a similar approach successfully.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't talk about my successes without talking about my failures.
Okay.
Okay. So there are times when intervening in itself will escalate a situation,
Mm-hmm.
because now they feel like it's kind of like the grandstanding approach. It's like, okay, boom, now all of the lights are on me. So now I can completely act a fool because now I have the attention of everybody in the room. So one of the approaches that, kind of more or less, works for me is, like I stated before, I'll just ask a question. As it pertains to like Introverted said, stand on topic.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah, that's necessary because, like the monkey branching example, what Denise was mentioning, there are people that are quick. If they can't deal with the subject, or they're losing whatever argument they think that they're having, and they're gonna deflect onto something else, and that's another thing. There are people that they get some kind of some type of emotional gratification out of picking arguments and getting into arguments with people, and that we were talking about that yesterday. That's very feminine. If somebody is a man, supposed to be a man, so like, don't pick arguments. I mean, you're looking bad. You're making yourself look bad. I mean, and that's something that we have been observing. There are the types that get into arguments as if the like they are some junior high school girl, and like, nah, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. Yes. That's not a manly thing. That's not masculine.
Okay. Um, Somehow, as far as Montana facts, are getting something like device not connected. So I don't know if that's something that I can address or has to be on his end because we had the same problem the other day with the other stream. So I don't know what's going on.
Maybe he should be kind of like click out and get back in. Then maybe that would be best.
Yeah.
No, it's just that probably he's using his phone, and it's StreamYard is not very good when it comes to using it via phone. It can work, but maybe it can't work. That's something I told you about that. There were a couple of times when I would try to use StreamYard on my phone, and it will make it real hot, and eventually it will kick me out because it will malfunction. I mean, it takes a lot of resources out of the phone, and so it's not recommended. It's better to be using like a laptop computer, something like that, which is what I'm doing right now. I mean,
I
because
understand.
yeah,
I understand that, but not. I don't want to be judgmental because we don't know. People might have a
hmm
laptop, but maybe the laptop is not working properly or what have you. So they may have
yeah.
to resort to using a smartphone and whatnot.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it. It's
So
just that it's just not not recommended. I'm going by experience. I mean, it will be giving me trouble.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Denise, you have any other anything else to say?
No, I think pretty much everything was discussed. Like I said, in my opinion, just like I told people, should just pick up the book and just learn how to manage yourself, because without proper communication, literally that's like literally saying like, if you look at everything in the world, even computers, even the internet, that's there, those machines are communicating.
Yeah.
We are fabulous as human beings, we don't read minds.
Okay.
And if we don't use those skills to actually transmit a message in a correct way, using all the avenues, and even so, when you use the proper avenues, people misinterpret what you say. So imagine how difficult we're making it when we don't even formulate proper concepts
Okay.
in
Yeah.
the proper ways.
Well, I just want to acknowledge that right now one of my nieces is watching the stream on Facebook.
Oh,
So
hi,
I just want to
Jose.
it's Irene. So Irene, I just want to say that I appreciate the fact that you're viewing the stream. Hopefully I'll see you and and your children soon. Just want to let you know that Dio Jose loves you very much.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that,
sweet.
that's nice.
That is so sweet.
Well, the fact of the matter is, we need to provide some sort of calm considering all the noise that we've been exposed to within the last week. And so
Yeah.
I really felt that this was a topic that needed to be discussed. Um, and I do hope that people, um, when they catch it on the playback, that they realize that the whole point is trying to strengthen the art of respectable dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it's on us. It's on us, at least here on this discussion that we're having. I think that we're at least making an effort or setting the example. So that's really what we can do, because we can't tell other people what to do, but at least we can set an example in the way that we carry ourselves, in the way that we do this ourselves.
You know what? I agree. I agree 100%. And the fact of the matter is, as I stated before, and I stated again, we have other YouTube creators that provide quality content. I mean, we have Denise with Latin Splaining, and we also have Ramon with the introvert Boricua.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be working on the next subjects soon. I don't know if it's gonna be in the next couple of days, but guys, subscribe to my channel, specifically you two guys, so I can give you your ranges.
Oh, we're gonna yield the range of intelligence and
Yes.
assertiveness.
Yeah. And somebody is trying to come in with the
We'll hit them with the
with
wrench.
yeah. You're gonna. I'm gonna need you to use the range like Thor's hammer, and banish them and get them out of there. Yeah.
Well, if no one else is going to enter any further comments on the chat, and if no one else is going to pop on, I think we need to stop wrapping this down. I think this has been a productive stream. Let me just see. So far, there's been 8 likes. So,
All right.
we're making progress. I mean, it's not like 20, 30 or whatever, but I mean, considering
Mm-hmm.
my channel's been in existence for only 4 months.
Yes.
So, and like I said, actually, my last subscriber is happened to be a member of my local. So,
All right. That's
so,
good.
so we need to spread the word that there are people like ourselves that will provide positive content. Now, what I'm going to do is, at this point, I'm going to start to take final remarks. So I'm going to start with the one, the only, the future queen of Rochester, future New Yorker, and lover of cold weather, Denise Gonzalez.
Oh my
Specifically
god.
Parkchester, not just a New Yorker,
Yeah,
but Parkchester.
Parkchester. Yeah.
You're gonna ha- you're
Yeah.
gonna have to, you're gonna have to your Theo next to you.
Yeah, definitely. No, I just, like I said, I want to encourage everyone. We're reaching the end of a year. And, one practice that I learned through therapy and, self reflection is learning how to listen to your internal voice. We tend to know when something is not working because we keep encountering the same problem everywhere we go. And hearing the same feedback from different groups of people that don't know each other. So they must be right. So take this time towards the end of the year, this last 2 weeks of 2021, and just start self reflecting, not self reflecting, more like self examining yourself, um, when it comes to the way you come off and you express your viewpoints, and how do you express concepts that go through your mind, and start making the changes. It doesn't matter if it takes you 5 years to change towards something better. Every single one of us is flawed in different ways, and all of us are working towards different goals that we all have because of those flaws. So don't compare yourself to nobody. Just work on yourself. If you are unable to resist the fact that people have an opinion about you, everybody that has, like, I'm sorry to bring it like this, but everybody that has a booty hole has an opinion, you
Yeah.
know? So, it's just as common. So if you cannot coexist with people's opinions about you and keep it moving, keep it classy, keep it funny and fresh, then you need to grow up. You need some growing up to do. And I could be talking even to someone that's 60 years old or 70 years old, because you can only be young once, but immature your whole life. So just make sure, like I said, reflect towards the end of the year, make the adjustments, revisit your belief system, make the changes that need to be done, accept that there's a problem, and just be better. Always strive to be better, and aim higher. That's all I gotta say. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody that's been here. Welcome, Montana, to a little corner here on YouTube. Ramon, thank you for, and to Jose, thank you for putting up with me, my opinionated self. Uh, Thank you very much, Jose, for having me on your platform. It's always a pleasure. You always come with topics that are very educational and very needed. So I appreciate that you're here doing this. With that being said, good night to everybody that's watching. Good night, guys. It has been a pleasure. Till the next one.
Thank you very much, Denise. I'm going to put you in the background, so please don't go away. Now we're going to have the introvert Boricua with his final remarks.
Yes, like you were saying, and Denise was also saying, um, there is this notion that if you want to keep things civil when it comes to talking to other people, that you might be seeing yourselves as being superior, a snob or whatever, which is not true. Which is not true. I mean, maybe those have to do with age, because we are a little older. We are of a bit of an older generation, and something that I learned years ago was to not to get into arguments with people, because that doesn't that leads nowhere. Definitely, I learned that with my dating, because you don't argue with a woman. I mean, that's it's a waste of time, because if there is a disagreement that you're having with your lady, and it escalates, and then she starts getting a bit argumentative or something like that, you're not going to resolve anything by continuing that. It's better to walk away and let her cool down, you cool down, and then you go back and you tell her, hey, talk to me now. If you're calm, tell me what really the problem is, and let's address it. To a degree, that's kind of how you have to do with these certain personalities that can be a bit emotional, because that's at the root of it. When you cannot um, have a civil dialogue with certain individuals, that's because they are leading with their emotions. So it's like you're arguing with your significant other, and that's not gonna get anywhere. So you kind of have to take the same approach, like stop it, don't argue, step back, walk away, and maybe address it with the person some other time when they can be calm, more cool, collected, and all, and they can actually address the subject. Because in an argument, then there is a deflection, things bounce all over the place, and you actually forget what you were arguing about. I have been there many times, whether with somebody that I have been in a relationship with. So that's kind of like the same approach that I will take. I don't get into arguments anymore. My peace is more important, and I have to value, because I have to value myself. So I can't let someone else disturb my peace. And for somebody who is in his 40s, I have low blood pressure, and I want to keep it that way. So, Don Jose, I appreciate you letting me on your panel. It's a great topic, and maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe this is a topic that we can continue again some other time. And again, appreciate you letting me on your panel. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much for joining the panel and for your insight. I'm going to put you in the background. Please don't go away. And now we have Matena Facts. Before I ask you for your final remarks, what are you thinking about the channel?
So far, so good. As an outspoken person, I do appreciate being amongst other outspoken people. It's the only way to grow. Either you're arrogant or a-hole, or you're in the right room. Just being outspoken. I mean, I didn't write the rules. It's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like it. Like I said, the 18th letter, that's my best friend in the world. Okay. And I trust this judgment. We've known each other, since before we cared about how we looked coming out of the house. He knows me quite well. And it's my oldest daughter's godfather, by the way. We're that close. But he as soon as he sent me the invitation, I didn't ask any questions. I came right in. I kind of been this way my whole life. So I knew that he knew, what would be a true fit for me. And as it pertains to what I took in this evening, is I feel like with the group, and I know it's going to grow, I know it's going to fluctuate, I know some people, their availability will be different. There'll be new faces, there'll be more people in the comment threads as things continue to grow. But I do feel like this is somewhere that I can grow. I can challenge my own perspectives and thoughts, which is very, very important, in realms like this, to be able to talk to someone or have an exchange instead of speaking at people. Some rooms, it's just what it is, like you don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. That's how I was raised. Like, if you're the smartest person in the room, pick another room. So, I did pick that up. It's no cowards in here. No one's, backing down from what they say. If they feel the need to elaborate, they will. This is, first impression is a lasting one. So like I stated earlier, I will be back. Looking forward to the next topic. I love how it was ran. Everyone was, respectful. Everybody, was open to an exchange. I have no complaints. I feel at home.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Don't be like a stranger. And in fact, I'm going to be doing another stream Tuesday. So basically, it's going to be a recap of season 1. And it's going to be on Tuesday. I believe it's 9 o'clock. Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. So if you're able to participate, by all means, you're more than welcome. I do hope that this material is you always consider becoming a subscriber,
No doubt.
because we do need quality content. So I just want to thank you very much for your input. I thank you very much for your contribution to the discussion. I'm going to put you in the background. If you want, if you want to stay, you do so. If not, I do understand, because we all have other things to do. So
all right, until next time, Jose. Thank you for having me.
Well, don't be a stranger. So
I promise I won't.
I'm going to put you in the background. Thank you very much.
All right.
Now I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the subject. The art of respectful dialogue needs to be strengthened. And I think here we took some actions to try to strengthen it. What we will need is mutual respect, mutual understanding, and to be mindful that there'll be times that we're going to disagree, but we can be agreeable when we disagree, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, when we disagree and we can do it respectfully, we can learn from the interchange. So with that being said, I just want to let everybody know that Tuesday, I will be live, and it's going to be a recap of all the topics that we discussed in season 1. After Tuesday, I will not be doing a stream for the following 2 weeks, because I want to spend some time with my family, and I also want to work on my channel for season 2. I thank everybody who appeared on the panel. I thank everyone who popped in on the chat. And of course, I have to close the same way that I always close. People, please be careful out there, because we are dealing with a thing called COVID-19, which has killed 800,000 people so far in this country. And we must do everything possible to limit our content with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. That being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, and I bid you, if I don't see you, a blessed Christmas, blessed Kwanzaa, Three Kings Day, and any other holiday that you observe. Take care, have a blessed night, and